Welcome to the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We're your hosts, Erica Radis and Marie Lifschultz, a realtor and lender here in San Antonio, but most importantly, we're working moms just like you.
This podcast is all about creating a space where we can come together, share stories, and learn from each other. We love connecting with local moms in business, hearing about their journeys, and how they're balancing it all. Because let's be honest, it's not always easy, but it's so worth it.
Before we dive into today's episode, we're excited to share some big news with you all.
Our business community and co-working memberships are officially open. Whether you're looking for a supportive community of moms in business or need a beautiful space to work and grow, we've got just what you need here at Working Moms of San Antonio. You can visit the link in our show notes or workingmomsofsanantonio.com/membership for more info.
Now, on to today's episode. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get started.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We have a guest on, Veronica Williams, and I'm going to turn it over to her to share about all the things that you're working on and what you've got going on.
Thank you so much, Erica.
Yeah.
It is my pleasure to be here. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to hang out with you guys and with Maria as well.
Yes, excited to have you.
Thank you so much. So I'm Veronica Williams, and I am an independent running for Congress, Texas District 23. And what I constantly tell people is that enough is enough with division.
Yeah.
Enough is enough with corruption.
Yeah.
Enough is enough with economy that leaves too many families behind.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so
It
true.
is, yeah. Vern, have you always been considered an independent? Have you always felt that way?
You know, just like many people, I've been caught up in my own life, right?
Yeah.
Raising children. I'm also a grandmother. I own my own private practice. And so I was not always in tune with politics. But the more that my own clients in therapy wanted to talk about politics and how scared and how concerned they were with the way that our country was going, I started to focus a little bit more on politics. So then naturally, it was natural for me to become an independent because first and foremost, all my background is in psychology.
Yeah.
And I know the way group psychology works. You know, even when there's not a healthy candidate, the party will push everyone to be quiet, fall in line. We're all going to support this person.
Yeah.
And, you know, as an independent, I implement my critical thinking skills and I really look at the candidate.
Yeah.
Is this a good candidate to lead us?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what really mostly led me to become an independent.
It's hard because I think growing up, it wasn't a big deal in my household.
Yeah.
And then as I've gotten older, it's very much pushed onto social media, right? It's hard to get away from. We used to get our news and information just from the news, right? You watch TV, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock news, sometimes in the morning. But beyond that, it wasn't always in front of us. And now you can't really get away from it. Like it's everywhere. So you see the younger generation really in tune to what's going on. And I think that's been an issue with mental health. They're stressed out. We're all stressed out a little bit.
Oh, yes.
You know?
There's a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're worried. And and sometimes like, well, was it always like this and we didn't know? We just didn't have the information?
I don't feel like politics is big with my parents, but I don't feel like it was big until they got older. Like they didn't talk about that stuff when we were younger that I can recall. But as they get older, they get so very opinionated.
Oh, Mr. Randy.
Yeah. So opinionated. All the opinions.
And now everyone has an opinion. We see this on social media.
Yes, ma'am.
You know? So
Yeah.
now we're surrounded by it.
Which I think it's good to hear, but I don't think no one listens to each other. So I don't know if I've ever identified as an independent, but I always wanted to I need to hear both. How can you have the full picture if you don't listen to both sides? But I'm like, isn't there another side? Like, wait, there's something missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a part that's missing and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So share a little bit more about what it means to be an independent.
Well, an independent also, you know, it says what Marie was talking about. Listen, we have to have politicians that actually listen to both sides and say, hey, I don't identify as a Republican, but I really love that one of the core messages about the Republican Party is having a budget and sticking to that budget. Because let's face it, we all know that the United States is in severe debt. So
Right.
why are we sending billions or millions to Argentina, to Israel, to Egypt, and to other countries? That money needs to stay right here at home,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so part of my training as a mental health professional is that I listen.
Yeah.
I like that part.
Yeah.
So I listen. So I've been really enjoying block walking. And I know maybe to other politicians are like, cringe, I hate block walking. But I've been really enjoying it because I've been doing mostly listening
Mm-hmm.
and hearing what we, the people, need.
Yeah.
And we, the people, are telling me that they're tired of the division.
Yeah.
They're tired of the corruption because they feel like, both parties really represent billionaires and big corporations and big money.
And no matter what side, like
That's
even
right.
though, yes, on both sides. Yeah.
That's right. And so they want to bring it back. They want to support politicians that bring it back to we, the
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
And so if that's what you're looking for, then I'm your candidate.
Wow.
It is. It's
Yeah.
hard. We actually had this conversation with my boys not too long ago. They're very involved. Like they love listening to stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to back off. Like come back. But I love that they want to know. But I truly stressed, and I didn't know how to until you actually just said it. You need to hear both sides, but there's also, like I said, a piece that was missing. Like there's, I love the conservative part of a Republican where we need to have a budget. Money, money, numbers matter.
Yes.
Like we got to make that matter. But I love the heart of the Democrat where I want to take care of people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I want that part. So we have to figure out how to make those two ideas in my world fit together.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to like. None of them are great. None of them are great. So
Right.
we got to find a solution.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, no one is going to be perfect. Not a party, not a system, not an individual. We're human and we're made to error. So the way I see it is that we need a politician that will apply empathy and understanding for we the people, but strength and assertiveness towards people that want to destroy our democracy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I think it's an interesting point that was made before where it's like, they will push up, these parties will push up whomever. I mean, I know, and I'm not a very political person, but I know like during our last presidential election, I sort of thought to myself, like, is this the best of what we have? Like, this is what
I'm
what
like,
we're doing.
I'm
Like,
smarter than-
it feels like there are other choices.
I remember I'm like, I'm smarter than that. Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, but it was just like, hey, that's who that party had, and that's who they had, and that was what it was. And I
Let's
was
go.
just-
Really?
Yes, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, this is the best, I guess.
But I think as we the common person feel like, do we have any really power? I mean, we're not billionaires. We don't have the voice, but
Yeah.
I mean, we had a candidate that was running for local government, and she's like, it's more important to truly vote local, right? Because
Yeah.
that affects your daily life more. But at the end of the day, like, do we have, if we can get voices up there that can see all the sides,
Yeah.
maybe there's not just two sides, maybe there's 5 sides. I don't know. Whatever
Yeah.
the sides are, see all the things and have some critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
That would be great. Let's
Yeah.
work on that.
Just
Yeah.
like as a society.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like what you touched on, Marie, that, we look at each other or we think to ourselves, do I have what it takes to run? And we actually do. In private practice, within my sessions with clients, after teaching my clients skills, I would empower them. I would encourage them. Apply these skills and jump into action if you want to create positive change in your life. So this is me as a mental health professional jumping into
in.
action to create positive change, not only locally, but, because of my skills, I'm able to zoom out.
Yeah.
So not only am I thinking about my constituents within District 23, but I'm zooming out, and everything that I do for my constituents, I will also be thinking, how can this also help all U.S. citizens?
Yeah. Well, and I'm sorry, what District 23, what is that? What area is that? If people don't know.
Oh my goodness, it is
It's a
massive.
big area, isn't it? It's a big area. I
It
know
is
that.
massive. It goes into El Paso. It comes down to the border, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, and then it creeps up into San Antonio and Helotes.
Yeah, it's a very large district. I knew that. Like,
Yes.
it's very large.
Yeah. And how many people are in the running?
Currently on the Republican side, I believe there's 4 candidates to include the incumbent. And on the Democratic side, there's about 5 people.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I have to wait
Yeah.
So the process for an independent is that I need to collect 500 signatures,
Oh,
Okay.
which to me is doable.
Yeah.
You know, it might seem overwhelming to other people, but to me is very doable. And I have to wait until after the primaries are over, because then those people that will sign my petition, those 500 signatures, cannot vote in the primaries. Because essentially what we're doing is when people vote in the primaries, they're saying, I want this Democrat to represent me, or I want this Republican to represent me. But when people decide to sign my petition, they're saying, I want Veronica to represent me.
oh, I see. That's so interesting. And so by signing that, they're not like they're saying we're not voting for these other people.
Correct.
Yeah.
They're just saying we're not going to vote in the primaries.
I see.
That's it. But then let's say that they changed their mind about whoever voted for their Democrat or their Republican, because then they got to talk to me and they were like, wow, Veronica, she just didn't talk about herself. She actually listened, you know? So then in the general election, even though they voted in the primaries, they can still say, actually, I think Veronica is a better candidate, so I'm just going to go ahead and vote for her.
Oh, that's an interesting process.
It is.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I think it's just the fact that we have more and more people like, hey, we need to have a third option. Like the two options are just not cutting it. And there's, like I said, there's more sides to all the things, and we focus on two things. What happened to the rest of all the other stuff that we care about?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And with that in mind, the Associated Press, just yesterday, they came out with an article stating that the younger generations, the millennials, the Gen Z, that they are not loyal to the Democrats or the Republicans because they feel left behind. They feel like their issues, their interests, their concerns are not really being addressed. So they're leaning more into independence.
Well, I want to say they and us got screwed in the end. Like we feel that way. We feel very left out. We feel very forgotten. All the things we're doing, all the changes that were made in the past and they said that, I mean, if you read and look back, it's going to affect younger generations, and it is. And we're seeing that now, the economy, all the changes in our industry, the market, right? You can't buy a home. Like homes are not affordable. Why? What happened?
What is the average age now of the first time home buyer?
38, almost 40.
38.
I bought my first home. I'm very blessed, and I'm in the industry. I don't think I would have, but I bought my first home at 23 years old.
Same.
And I'm looking at my son, and I'm like, he can't even get an apartment. Like he's going to graduate, and he can't. No.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's why we're seeing younger generations. They're staying with their parents a lot longer because just homes they're unaffordable. Rents are super high. Groceries are expensive. Car insurance, all those things that matter. That once gave older generations like myself, Gen Xers and baby boomers, we were able to purchase homes very affordable. When I purchased my first home, I only paid $123,000.
Yeah.
That now it's unheard of.
Yeah.
No, it's not livable. The homes are not livable. They're not there's health and safety issues, and it's crazy. So the things that I think millennials and Gen Z are really focused on finding, like, this can't be the only way to do things. And we've been doing the two parties for so long.
Yes.
I don't think most people realize there is other options.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm really hoping and crossing my fingers that we actually get a third party. And let's give a third party a chance of what they can bring to the table. Because I think you're going to see a lot of other people like myself stepping up to the plate and saying, this is an option. Here, I'm here to listen, not just brag about myself and I've done this and I've done that.
Yeah.
Well, I think all the other parties have forgotten what it is to be us. Like they don't know what the day-to-day struggles are, and they live in La La Land is what I think.
Yeah. How interesting. Yeah. So is affordable housing like one of your points, like on your platform?
Oh, yes. When I was doing my research as I'm running for this political position, I found out that private equity firms, and just one example, Blackstone, they've been purchasing a lot of single family units.
Well, we've heard that.
Right?
Heard that, yeah.
And then they're not turning around. It's not like they're fixing them and then selling them to, young homeowners, They're actually renting them out, and their goal is not to sell them, it's to rent them.
Sure.
I'm sure you guys have recently heard about the 50-year mortgage.
Oh,
yeah.
That to me, even though I'm a homeowner, I'm worried for our future generations because I have children that are millennials and grandchildren that are Gen Z, so what is there for them to purchase?
Yeah.
So that's who I'm concerned about.
Fair. And since I am in finance, I'll talk about that with the 50-year mortgage seems crazy. It doesn't have to be fully 50 years. It does give people some options, and you have choices. It gives them another choice. But again, you need to have people who are out there looking out on behalf of people and teaching them and advising them, what does this mean? Because I don't think most people understand what 50 years means. Like, what does that look like in terms of how much you're actually paying? Are you really saving? And if give the numbers to them and allow them to have that choice.
Yeah.
But why do we have to go to a 50-year if things are affordable? It's not the interest rates right now. It's not the things. It's all the regulations that are put on that industry right now that's causing the expense. But it's truly the home cost and what drives that.
Yeah.
So home costs go up, your income has to go up. We have not caught up. Like, if I remember seeing something from the 1930s, 40s, whatever it was, what prices were and what you made, there was a decent ratio, right? So we've increased so much that we're suffering here. We can't afford anything because of the gap of income versus what things cost.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just can't catch up.
I mean, for me, on being on the sales side of it, and I can't speak to other parts of the country, but I know that, like, during COVID, there was such a huge, like, influx of cash. I'd never seen more cash in the
Where
market.
did cash come from?
It came from California and it came from New York, where you sell a house that's $5 million and you can buy one over here for $750,000, and it's a similar house. And I just even I had some of these clients where we were in these bidding wars and stuff, and they were like, just give them another 50. They have it. And, like, the piece, I know, just give them another 50. Give them 50 more than what they're asking.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I can't tell you not to. But it drove up the price of these houses, and our income for the people that are from here and living here has not gone up to meet that.
We
I
can't.
believe
We can't catch up.
Yeah.
And you have these large corporations that are in cahoots with all the different parties and somehow
Exactly.
and have allowed them to do things like that, and you just don't have a fighting chance. It's kind of like, that's why monopolies are bad. You can't have one thing control everything, because then you have no competition there.
Yeah.
So that's what we've seen, and both parties have not done what's right for the common person, like just us.
Right.
Yeah.
It hasn't been addressed, and this is why I'm pro raising salaries and wages. I'm pro universal health care. And some people say, well, we can't afford universal health care. And I say, I call BS to that, and we can afford universal health care if we stop policing the world, if we start sending our American tax dollars overseas.
Absolutely.
If we stop bombing. One bomb costs thousands of dollars, and if we keep that money here at home, we can afford universal health care to include mental health, to include pharmaceuticals, to include seeing a dentist, because too many times it seems like it's a luxury just to go to the dentist.
I know. It's wild. And you see, I guess there's truth in that, because you see these other countries that kind of stay out of everybody's business, and they can afford
Just
it.
take care of their own thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
suppose their taxes must be high. It must be high.
I don't know. I'm sure we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I'm like, I don't really know. But
But I think there's other things involved that are causing there's a huge gap in where we fall versus where our parties fall financially.
Excellent.
Like, there's just huge in corporations. Like, I don't mind, believe me, I work hard, make money.
Yes.
All the day. I want you to, the harder you work, the more money you work. I more money you earn, excuse me. I think that's all day long. I love that ability. That's why I do what I do.
Sure.
The harder I work, the more money I can make. If I don't want to work, I don't make money.
Yes.
That's the way it works. But there has to be some kind of fair game. It's not a fair game because we can't catch up.
That's right. And I like the way you put it, Marie. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to. We can look at how other countries do it. We can look at Europe and see how they implement universal health care. We can look at our neighbors to the north, Canada, and see how they have done it. Even our neighbors to the south, Mexico, they have universal health care. And like you said, Marie, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can look at those systems and then say, okay, I see how you guys are doing it, but us Americans, we like to do it better.
Yeah.
So why not look at, where it's failing or where it's not so good, and just do it better.
Yeah. It's hard. I was watching, I don't know if this is watching something on social media, and it was a person calling on regarding a bill they received. and they called and said, hey, we got this bill for whatever procedure we had, and I don't think you included our insurance, right? Our health insurance. Let me give you that information. Great, got that health insurance information. They got another bill a month later. The bill's higher. Like, wait a minute. I gave you my health insurance, and now this bill's even more. And she said, oh yeah, well you don't get the discount because you were a cash buyer before, and you got a discount. But now that you're using insurance, you have to pay more. What?
Yeah.
I was like, how does that work?
It doesn't.
Like, how do there's a piece missing that a lot of us, I don't have the knowledge or the expertise to really but I know there's something missing. Yeah. Right? That doesn't make any sense, where if you're a cash buyer, you get a discount, or it doesn't cost as much, but if you use insurance, then it's more. That shouldn't be the case.
Maybe because they feel like they can get more out of the insurance company. Like the bill. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. They think they're going to get more out of them. So your bill goes up. But then as your bill goes up, your responsible party goes up.
Well, there's also regulations.
I mean, that's not right, but I think that's maybe the train of thought.
Well, like in my industry, right? So when things changed in the industry and Fannie and Freddie became now, government property basically and stuff like that, all these regulations came in. Well, in order to implement those regulations, it costs more money to do loans, period. So the banks ain't going to eat it. Yeah. I can't eat it. So guess where it gets passed on to? It goes on to the consumer. Well, it's cheaper if you pay cash long term because you don't have all the issues, right? So same thing here. If you have insurance that's involved with healthcare and you have all these, I'm assuming, regulations, things, they have the billing, all the things that you add on when you have insurance now have added to the cost of that procedure. Yeah. So how do we fix that so then everybody can have affordable healthcare? Like that should be just a human thing. Like that's just, we should be able to take care of that. That should be simple.
Yes.
And we can figure it out.
As human beings, we're going to get sick. We're going to need to go see a dentist, right? So this is why I'm so much pro universal healthcare. Well, let's take a look at the current system that we have, and the reason why a lot of these health insurance companies make millions and billions is because it's very common to hear that they do not provide the services that they say they're going to provide, right? Denials. Experiencing denials as patients, as consumers of these insurance companies. We get a lot of denials. But the unique thing that a lot of people don't know is that on the other end, as a provider, because as a mental health professional, I used to be on these insurance panels, and sometimes they would not pay us as professionals, as providers, because oftentimes I had to constantly fight with insurance companies, even months after I had already provided mental health services to my clients. They would say, no, we're not going to pay you. And I would have to resubmit. And sometimes it would take me weeks, if not months, to get paid. And sometimes I wasn't paid at all.
Yeah, I believe that. My husband is a veteran, and we have VA insurance. And there are so many, in a town where there are so many military, there are so many people that will not take my insurance because they know they're going to get stiffed. And I mean, believe me, I get it. The VA does what it does. Like, I understand. And so I don't blame them, but it is a pain, so I believe that. I believe that these professionals probably aren't being paid what they're supposed to be paid.
And because of the hassle they have to deal with in order to even try to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's going to cost you more.
Right.
Yeah. So you're more of a pain in the ass. You're going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
totally.
And I think that's what insurance companies are also hoping, that us providers get so burnt out and so frustrated that we say goodbye to the insurance companies, because that honestly happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm here to be completely transparent. And what burned me out in private practice was not helping clients, right? What burned me out was dealing with insurance companies. So I said goodbye to all of them. And now I'm completely private pay, And, while I have this microphone, I want to bring attention to Dr. Elizabeth Potter. I don't know if you guys have heard about her story online, but she's a surgeon. And I'm not going to name the insurance company because I just want to be respectful, right? But she was actually pulled out of surgery. An insurance company called her to talk to her about a patient, which, mind you, they had already approved the procedure. She was already scrubbed in and about to conduct her expertise, the surgery. And she had to scrub out to take that phone call from the insurance company.
Because they were changing the approval, or what were they?
They wanted to discuss, well, does this patient really need this surgery? And mind you, this patient was experiencing cancer.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
she needs this.
How crazy. That's
Yes.
wild.
Well,
Absolutely.
and right now we don't have a party that will stand up
Yeah.
to whatever's happening. I don't know. Something's happening. I don't know what it is, but something's happening between the government, insurance, and stuff like that. So if we have no one saying, hey, we got to fix this problem,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm. And I think because too many politicians are taking big corporate funds, so at the end of the day, they ask us, the common people, vote for me, vote for me. But then when they're up in DC, how are you helping me, sir or ma'am?
Yeah.
And I need you to advocate for me and not advocate for these corporations. And as a mental health professional, that's another piece that I've been trained. I have to advocate for my clients, and that's the skills that I'm going to take to Washington. I'm going to advocate for U.S. citizens.
My husband always says, he said, I think politicians should stand up with jackets that are covered in label like a NASCAR driver, so they can know, like, okay, that's United Healthcare, that's Aetna or whatever.
Yeah,
all down
that's
the
funny.
thing.
No, I agree.
This is so. I mean, and that's where, and if that's where you got funds and that's who you support, great. But let us all know that, so then we can have that information up front, so we kind of know.
Yes,
So,
I love it. Transparency. And this is why other websites like Track APAC and there's another one, Open Secrets. We can look into those and see who is supporting these politicians, who have they taken funds from, and I think a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised that when they're looking at my website, under the donation tab, they can see clearly, I do not accept corporation money and I do not accept APAC money. My campaign is 100% fully funded by We the People because that's who I will represent today and tomorrow and always.
Well, it's just, and it shows that you have a passion to care. I mean, it's a servant's heart. Like, you want to serve the people, and that's what everyone in politics should be like. And I think we've forgotten that.
Absolutely.
In general, and I feel bad for our generation, our kids' generation that's coming up, because I'm like, they don't have any hope. I mean, I want hope, but it's hard. And like I said, with all the information that's out right now, it's just, we got to have a different option out there.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm hearing about from the young people. I'm constantly on TikTok because that's like a popular app, and I conduct lives there. And so I got a lot of people that say, especially Gen Z, that they feel anxiety, that they feel fear because, like we spoke about earlier, the opportunity to purchase a home is not there for them. To have livable wages and salary is not there for them. To be able to afford going to college, it's not there for them. Even trade schools are expensive nowadays. So they're like, what's the purpose of life? And that just totally hurts my heart. As an American, it hurts my heart. As a mental health professional, I'm like, look, we need more politicians that are really addressing these issues, right? That jump in and say, I'm going to work hard for you. I'm going to work hard to say these private equity firms can no longer buy these homes, so we make them more affordable for you. We need politicians to say, hey, we're going to encourage more home building, right? Because if we increase the amount of homes that there is, that
More
also
supply and demand.
Exactly. So that will bring down the prices of homes. Regulation is not a bad thing. As a mental health professional, I know that people can get addicted to money and power. So we need more politicians that are going to put boundaries towards themselves, and I'm that type of person. No one else knows how to place boundaries better than I do, right? So I've already told my people when I'm block walking, I'm going to implement a self-boundary in regards to term limits. You're not going to see me die in office. That's so embarrassing, right? First and foremost. So if my voters allow it, I would love to serve 3 terms. And the terms are 2 years apiece. So no more than 6 years. And after that, I'm going to say goodbye. But from day one, I want to implement a mentorship program so that I'm helping young people. Hey, these are the ins and outs of politics. So at the end, I can say, I've been mentoring
Pass the baton.
Exactly. Beautifully said. I'm going to pass the baton to this person. This is who I endorse, right? And did you guys know that politicians in D.C. get the ultimate insider trading knowledge? And then they take that knowledge to the stock market. So if they don't walk in as millionaires, they leave as millionaires. But once again,
how does that happen?
They're the only people that don't have to go to work and still get paid. You see those rooms when they're voting, they're freaking empty. I'm like, in what other job do you just not have to turn up and you're still getting paid?
Yeah.
None.
Absolutely. But once again, I'm going to implement a boundary and I pledge not to use that insider trading information, and I'm not going to place bets or invest in the stock market.
I don't think you should be allowed to.
No.
I think the biggest thing when it comes to, there's no new blood, right? There's no new ideas. Not let's say they've done great, but you get stuck, right? You get stuck in the same ideas. And if new blood doesn't get in, like when you have a business, you bring in someone from the outside who might have experienced something different or had a different company policy or whatever. You bring them into your company, you're like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's implement that here. We don't have any new ideas coming into our government at all. It's the same thing over and over and over. Like it's the same book. Like we got to get new ideas in here.
Yes, so wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, new blood.
Absolutely.
New blood, definitely. It is never a bad thing having new ideas come in. It might work, it might not, but we haven't tried anything new.
Absolutely.
Let's try something new.
Yeah. And I think that's where I come in, where I can come in, because like I said, I don't plan to die in office. We see too many politicians, for example, Miss Nancy Pelosi, 40 years.
It's a long time.
That is a long time.
Mitch McConnell.
Long time.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 years or something like that, So I don't want to pick on a certain party, right? Because both of them have politicians that have served a lifetime.
Yeah.
And we need to create space for other ideas.
New ideas. That's all.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your service, but let's have some new ideas that might have been part of the, I would say, in quotes, normal world. When you've been in politics for 30, 40 years, you haven't experienced the day-to-day life that we're experiencing today. You've been so far removed from it because you've been so long serving.
That's
so
right.
have some new people who've had a family recently, who have grandchildren, who have, like, in the real world, that have come up and actually can share ideas that hey, like, this is what we're seeing today. You're remembering things that were 50 years ago, 40 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the old way of doing things is not necessarily healthy for the new generations. I've had some interesting conversations with new candidates, right? And so, Veronica, what are you doing to communicate your message? I'm like, grassroots, 100%. I'm block walking. Very quickly, when I put my name in the hat, I started block walking. And one candidate in particular, I'm not going to name him, but he said, you know what? That's kind of old fashioned, isn't it? I'm like, what are you talking about, old fashioned? He's like, yeah, we could just pay for people to go knock on doors. And I was like, but you're missing the point.
Yeah.
We have to build relationships. I'm not trying to talk to people. I'm trying to listen. But in my goal of implementing healthy boundaries, I'm also creating healthy relationships with my constituents, because all of those people are going to be my accountability partners. So we need to stay grounded. And the only way we do that is by having conversations and listening to we the people.
Well, and if you're not listening to your people, who are you listening to?
Yeah.
You're just yourself? Like,
yeah.
Like, where are the ideas? How do you know what we need or want if you don't listen?
And you're disconnected.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing I think maybe I feel when I look at politics, and I try not to, but when I try to see, it's very disconnected from how I see the world.
Yeah.
Like when you listen to them, like, no, that's kind of weird. Nope. I don't get to not go to work. Even when we're sick, I still get up and go to work. We don't have vacation days like you. We don't have months off at a time.
Yeah.
We still got to show up. If not, I don't get paid. If I don't get paid, my kids don't eat.
That's right.
So.
True. And I agree 100% with that, if and when I get elected, and young people say, speak it into existence.
Yes,
so this
put it
is
out in the
me.
universe.
Yeah.
That's right. So this is me speaking it out to existence, right? So when I get elected, I'm going to try to implement term boundaries, term limits, right? And also, if we don't show up to work, we don't get paid. Now, I know I'm not naive. I know I'm going to get pushback, but I'm 100% pro. If we don't show up to work, we don't get paid.
That's just crazy.
You're right. In what other world does that happen?
It just doesn't. It never does. And
Right.
I like, you watch the news and stuff, and you see these rooms, and there's like 4 people in there,
Mhm.
and I'm like,
You're right. Yeah.
what?
Yes.
How?
Yes, absolutely. And just like you ladies, Marie, you were saying, if I don't hustle, I don't get money. I make very little, or,
Nothing. Yeah.
yes, my family doesn't eat.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
likewise for politicians, with the current shutdown, wow, all of them got
They
paid.
should be
sure
on
did.
commission like us.
Oh gosh,
I'm 100%
They
commission.
couldn't do it.
They couldn't handle it.
You
That's
know
not a
what?
salary. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Like,
That's
that's
right.
just how it works. You shouldn't. No salary. You should be 100% commission.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm for it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because your girl here is okay with eating bean and cheese tacos.
Damn, yeah,
I'm
see?
just
There you
saying.
go.
Yeah.
It really is. I like, and I don't want to fault anyone. I think I pray. I pray that people go in with the heart that they're trying to help, and their ideas are just, they're outdated. They're outdated. We need new blood. You need new ideas. And because whatever they're voting for is not what we need, or whatever they're doing for us, it's not cutting it.
That's right.
You know, and I have a blessed life, but I am fearful for my children who are now becoming adults very slow. You know, they're like, I'm like, what do they have? Like, we were just, for example, just trying to buy a used car for my son, right? And I was used to be an Advent Dave Ramsey follower, and you know, get that beater, and he doesn't need a brand new car. Yes, I can't find one. I can't find this, you know, $1,000, $1,200 car, you know, so he can have to go to school. Like, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, there's, because, and I'm like, how do people afford this? Yeah, this is not reasonable. So when I remember when I bought my first car, I'm like, it was, you know, $1,500, you know, way back when. This is increased tenfold.
Yeah.
Like, but money hasn't. So it doesn't make sense. Like, why is this like this? So.
You know, with that, I also believe that we need to allow other industries to come into the United States, you know, other car makers to come in. And just as an example, I'm going to talk about our neighbor to the south. You know, they have been investing in creating their own car line. You know, is it the super luxury Mercedes? Is it comparable to Mercedes? Absolutely not. You know, it's a small, smart car type vehicle for the common person, just for a person to have an affordable vehicle to get to work. That's it. So we should be open-minded to allow those industries to come, especially if it's our neighbors. And if so, Canada has something like this, I would be open to, hey, let's bring these other vehicles into the market, because us Americans, we need more affordable options. Yeah. Instead of a car that costs $60,000, or, you know, we can't get an affordable used car.
Can't even get a beater.
Yeah.
Can't even get it. It's affordable.
Absolutely.
I was looking online the other day, and I was like, oh, hey, there's one, $3,500. Oh, wait, it's just a shell. There's no motor. Never mind. Oh. Next one, it had no motor.
Well, you need that.
So it's like a Flintstones car, right? You're going to have to start running.
The Batomobile.
Oh, crazy. Well, this has been very informative. Yes. Yeah. And this is usually the part where we will ask our guests to share how folks can learn more about you and support you.
Thank you so much. People can go and check out my website at veronicagwilliams.com. And please sign up. My email address is there. You know, send me a shout out, a question, a complaint, a concern, a suggestion, because as a mental health professional, I listen to all of it.
Yes, I love that.
On the TikToks and the Instagrams.
That's
and
great.
Absolutely.
Catch her live.
Yes.
That's right.
And we'll get you that information in the show notes as well, so people can just click and find you right there.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited about the new blood.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you, ladies.
Of course. And then really quickly, I'll just thank our listeners for tuning into this week's episode, and we will catch you guys next time.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We hope you loved today's chat and found a little inspiration to take with you into your week. If you have a podcast topic suggestion or a question you'd love for us to cover, definitely send us an email at hello@workingmomsofsanantonio.com. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, see you in the community.